Good evening. I've been fortunate to be on both sides of the table. I've been, as Murali said, a serial entrepreneur. My earlier company had taken it public, did an IPO, and then the current company is doing extremely well, and we are the market leader. So I've raised enough money in both these ventures, as well as in the past few years, I've been doing a bit of angel investment. So I think I'll share my perspective of what I think a typical investor, in this case, it's not institutional investment, it's more of a angel investor that is looking for, which may be actually relevant to most of the startups here, because you may be in that stage rather than a Series B, Series C kind of a stage, right? So the first thing is, some of it that I may say may not resonate very well with this audience, right? I heard a lot of deep tech. What I feel is, just a deep tech company won't cut it. Unless you are really, really deep tech, as was mentioned earlier, like a Google or that kind of a company. Whereas our experience and as well as what is mentioned in the PwC presentation is, most of this deep tech is already embedded into every single industry. So unless this deep tech is going to be solving a business problem, being part of a domain, and I say I'm using this deep tech for solving this particular domain, and if you identify that domain and say, my first use case, yes, this deep tech is horizontal and it is domain agnostic, but I want to take this for deep tech and then apply it to this particular domain for this specific vertical, maybe for a particular geography. And then once I see traction, then I can look at it for other domains and other geography, right? So unless we kind of position this deep tech, instead of calling it as just a deep tech, but solving a specific business pain point, I think it's going to be difficult to convince a typical investor, right? That is the first point, because as I said, and as was mentioned in the PwC presentation also, and even in my current company, so we handle something like 500 million kind of records practically on a daily basis. The kind of ML, AI, and various other algorithms that we employ is also deeply embedded into my solution. My customer doesn't even know it. But we don't call ourselves as a deep tech company. It is a fintech, right? So that is the first thing. I think it's important to kind of look at what is a specific business pain point that I'm trying to solve, leveraging this deep tech. Of course, deep tech becomes the moat with which you are preventing others to kind of enter your space and building that barrier to entry. Second thing is execution. Because let's admit it, there are smarter people than us in the world. There may be people who are building deeper tech or deepest tech or whatever it is that is like much better than us, right? They might be building a widget that is far better than what we are building. So what is the kind of execution? Like, can we persevere in this kind of solution that I'm building? There will be failures. As most of the investors know, when we look at a business plan, I'm going to say 1/10 of what you are presenting there will be your revenue. And 10x of what you are projecting as the cost will be your cost. So with that kind of thing, you need to be kind of pivoting constantly. So do you have that within you to kind of sustain and execute it well? Because ideas are plenty. There may be enough people with better ideas also. But can you execute it? Because this is not a 100-meter sprint we are running. This is a marathon. And there may be situations where you have to pivot multiple times. Do you have it in you to kind of do this and execute it well? Third thing is team. Most of us look at the team. I mean, irrespective of what is the idea, what is the business problem and all that stuff, if the team has a great track record, if the team has executed it before, very likely that you are going to be funded. Because there is so much of trust in that team, they will somehow make it happen. Whatever may be the difficulties, hurdles that they face, they will make it happen, right? That is the third thing. Team is extremely important. So it's very, very tough to be a sole founder in a company. It's always important to get a good team around you. Again, as was pointed out multiple times, you may be a great technologist, but you have to have everything around you so that to build a company, you need a lot more than that, right? Fourth thing is, this is not a one-of-a-kind building that you are doing, right? It's more like continuing innovation. As Christensen mentioned in, someone pointed that book, Innovator's Dilemma, you may get initial success. And that Innovator's Dilemma thesis is, success can actually take you to failure. Because what happens is, you get so much carried away by that initial idea and the initial success that you don't innovate after that. And there are smarter people who will come and innovate and then kind of make you almost like a also ran. You can just coast along after that. So do you have it in you to kind of continuously innovate so that this deep tech does not stagnate and you continue to build a lot more moat around it, right? So with all of this, you build this barrier to entry, and basically we evaluate whether you have built enough significant barrier to entry that it will be so difficult for anyone else to come and kind of take over your position, right? So this is what typically we look for, but after all of this, as Kumar said in his thing, there is an element of luck in being an entrepreneur. Here I would say it's largely gut feel. Yes, one can say that I did all of this and then based on all the scientific parameters, I think they are lying. Because otherwise, how do you explain companies like Google not getting funded by some of the largest of the VCs in the world, right? So at the end of it, while we do all of this exercise, finally it is driven down to like, do I trust the team? Do I know the team? Do I think they will deliver it? And then there is a gut feel and write the check. Thank you.